mitigation we talk about. So if our preference is to ignore international equity, pass a huge burden onto our children to reduce or to suck our carbon dioxide emissions out of the atmosphere in the future, to be part of a 2.5 to 3 degrees C future, and to renege on our Paris commitment. But in doing that, we can actually dovetail with today's politics. We can maintain the current market economic model, and we can favour sort of, if you like, sizable adjustments to business as usual, but they're just adjustments to business as usual, not questioning it itself. Then, well, fine, stick with 5% mitigation and net zero by 2050. If alternative, our preference is to take our international obligations seriously, to have a huge mitigation effort by this generation, not just passing it on to the next one, to cut our emissions in line with Paris and to 2 degrees centigrade, and therefore abide by the Paris commitments, then the repercussions of that are that we need a sort of, at the very minimum, a sort of an FDR, Roosevelt scale sort of levels of government intervention. Now, you may use market mechanisms, but the government will set the very strong umbrella framework within which that will operate. It will require a complete and profound reshaping of our current economic structures and deep and rapid shifts across all sectors. Now, this is not a moral position, it's not a political position, it's just a simple outcome of the maths and the science and our choice to do bugger all for the last 30 years on mitigation. Then that is about a 10 to 20% per annum reduction in emissions year on year, and real zero by about 2035, planes, trains, ships, everything. That's for the wealthy parts of the world. The poorer parts have about 15 years longer to do that. So to conclude, if you play out the maths and the science, then it tells you very clearly that what we need are new narratives on what constitutes growth, progress, and development. We've got to reframe concepts of value and even the idea of how we reward success, if we reward success at all. We need an alternative relationship with time where we're not just obsessed by the near term and discount the future. We need to genuinely embed intra and intergenerational equity, about care for our own children, our children's children, but also people elsewhere in the world. And we need a much deeper appreciation of the more than human world, of which, of course, we are part and completely reliant upon. It's now 2020, coming to the end of 2020. Climate change has become system change. It wasn't initially, it wasn't in 1990, it wasn't in 2000. In 2020, we have squandered our carbon budget, and now climate change has become system change. And as Einstein noted, but well, it's attributed to him anyway, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And thus far, people of my generation have broadly just carried on doing exactly this and are passing this on to our children, the consequence of 30 years of ongoing insanity. So